Michaela Howard, hey, what's up? Already. Get some music going in here. All right. Try to get some music going in here. Yeah, just pulling up some tracks here. That was actually pretty good. I like that one. Just pulling up the last of my notes. Just pulling up the last of my notes here to get ready in about 13 minutes. We're 13 minutes out from the start of the podcast. So not too bad. Hey, is my podcast hat up there? No? Shit. That's all right. I'm gonna rock this one today. Gotta be rocking the DBZ shit today, bro. Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna put that in there too. Hell yeah. I like some tech. All right, sweet. Michaela, thank you for coming in. Got me a nice daddy beverage here. Hopefully everybody has had a great week so far. So right now I'm just chilling. If y'all want to talk to me here in the chat, you're more than welcome to say, hey, what's going on? If y'all have some questions about what's going on with the podcast or some news you might have heard, I might be able to verify or deny some of your information depending on the sources. I do get my sources from Fightful.com. I do get my resources from Bleacher Report. I also check out the Masked Man Show. Um, I'm really big on Jim Cornette's podcasts, The Drive Through and The Experience. I'm really big on those. I do listen to Busted Open very often, literally every day. So I do have that there. And then also, I had a match last night in SWF for Sadistic Wrestling Federation against Dante Alfredo. I got the win via the collar clamp clutch, um, which is like basically a full Nelson into a camel clutch. It was a great submission move. I paid homage to my trainer, my first trainer, Philip Jackson, because his finishing submission used to be the collar clamp, but instead of doing the what I do in the camel clutch position, he lays off to the side and locks it in like a rings of Saturn. And I use that submission now. And I mean, I have a few moves. I have a few slams. Like I have a big brainbuster variation that I use for lighter guys or for guys who I can pick up with no problem. which is great. Um, I mean, I look forward to it. I got a good win. I got to rekindle a partnership from one of my old partners. We used to be tag team champions at one point about 10 years ago, about 12 years ago, actually. Little over a decade, but it's been a crazy ride and it's been a lot of fun. And I look forward to the future of pushing toward the Sadistic Wrestling Federation Tag Team Championships, who are Victor Von Crow and my opponent from last night, Dante Alfredo. Um, Victor Morbius has been a wonderful adversary. We've fought against each other quite a couple times. We've tagged up. We've become champions, like I was saying. Um, I look forward to the future with SWF, and I look forward to many other companies I'm moving out to. April 5th, I'm looking to get to Guthrie, Oklahoma for Branded Outlaw. I'm looking to get uh, April 20th in Katy, Texas, at the Houston Premier Arena for Texas Prodigy. That'll be my debut there. I look forward to that. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Yeah, so yeah, I'm still wrestling after 15 years and I'm still getting it done. Like this is basically my last run I'm doing right now. It's my last 5 years in the business, and whenever I decide to hang it up, it's going to be time to let it go, and I'm going to pivot into backstage as well as commentary. Also, doing here with the podcast with the Shed, I'm still going to be with the Shed no matter what. This has been a big project of my buddy, my best friend Justin Toops. He was the drummer for the band that we were in together. We founded a band called Loyalty Against Rights, which one of the songs from our band is used as the my theme music for professional wrestling. You know, I was able to help write, compose, sing, and play the different instruments that it was necessary to make the recording happen. Um, and a big shout out to HBC Studios in New Iberia, Louisiana, for mastering that song, which the song is called "Your Place Is the Pavement." Um, Yeah, and you can download the entire album of Loyalty Against Rights, the album Through It All on reverbnation.com/ loyalty against rights. Now there's going to be two band pages. The first one's going to be an old picture of me and the boys back whenever we first started. We had our single If Not For You, which was a very popular song with the crews, and it was mosh worthy for some. Because I did like some heavy alternative rock. And yeah, I love that kind of music. So, with that being said, we're less than 7 minutes away from going live for the Shed podcast. We have a pretty action-packed episode. There was a lot of action happening between Monday Night Raw, Tuesday in like the NXT on Tuesday night, as well as Friday Night SmackDown this past Friday. Moving into the Royal Rumble, we will be going live at the Shed for the Royal Rumble. I'd say about 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make the event here, and I'm going to post it on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok, everything. I'm doing full media, like all my branches, all my outlets to let people know about it, because we have the giveaway at the end of the podcast, which will be the Royal Rumble Show Cup. Just like we did for, hold on, I'm gonna grab the cups here. Like we did for a few. Our very first episode, our very first podcast, PLE, we did for SummerSlam, which this is SummerSlam Cup with all the different logos throughout the decades. And we also did Survivor Series, just recently Survivor Series. So we have all of these cups are up for grabs. Well, the Royal Rumble Cup we're going to have made is going to be up for grabs. All you have to do is like, share, subscribe to the channel, and join us for the pre-show and the post-show. Whoever drops a comment down below in the comment section will have their name automatically put on the prize wheel, to where at the end of the post show, after we do our review of the show, we're going to spin that wheel, and you have to be on the stream in order to win the cup. You have to be on the stream with us live all the way to the end, to where whenever we spin the wheel, Whoever it lands on, y'all, we're gonna give y'all 5 minutes to respond with let's say hashtag shed in the comments for the post show. Whoever wins has 5 minutes to reply hashtag the shed podcast um, to claim your cup, and we will DM you. You can send us your mailing information, and we will have that cup mailed to you within the week. So there's a chance to grab a $20 cup, courtesy of our sponsor at Little East Creations, similar to this SummerSlam, similar to the Survivor Series, because the Royal Rumble is one of the big four pay-per-views of the year, or sorry, PLEs of the year. You have Royal Rumble, you have WrestleMania, you have SummerSlam, and you have Survivor Series. We've done two so far since we started the podcast in June. We did SummerSlam first, and then Survivor Series just a couple months ago. We're looking at doing the Royal Rumble next Friday, February 1st at the Shed. Me, JT Gaming, Justin Toops, and Cajun Daddy Trucker Jimmy Fusho will be together in the Shed live doing the pre-show before the pay-per-view starts. We will activate our Discord to where anybody who's with us in the chat here can join us on our Discord. You can check our Discord link in the info of the Shed Podcast YouTube page right here. And for anybody who's interested in joining the Discord, please drop me a comment below during the podcast tonight, and I will send you an invite as soon as possible to the Discord, to where whenever we go off the air for the pre-show, y'all can hop on the Discord and we can do a watch along together with me, Jimmy, Justin, the guys here at the Shed, and with y'all joining us on Discord. I think it'd be a really great way to interact with our fans and to interact with our watchers, our viewers, our listeners. Um, it's an awesome opportunity to get to know the guys from the Shed podcast a whole lot better. And it's going to be a great event for Royal Rumble. I cannot wait. We've already got a return of Charlotte Flair, which we're going to bring that up later on for the SmackDown review. There's so much going on right now with the WWE, and it's great news. It's great to hear that Charlotte Flair has returned from surgery, fully recovered, ready to go. The Queen has returned. So, with that being said, we're less than 120 seconds away, less than 2 minutes away from starting episode 20 of the Shed podcast. So just hang tight. And if y'all want to, like, share, subscribe, share this with your friends, tell them to hop on and come check out some content. We're strictly dedicated to WWE, but I do have news outside of the WWE before I go into the Raw, NXT, and SmackDown reviews. So I appreciate everybody who is coming in. For those who will come in, and for those, even though you miss it, I will share it on my TikTok, my YouTube, my Facebook, my Instagram, my Snapchat. I'm gonna basically share it all over again as soon as I go off the air, and it buffers and saves for the evening. Ooh, ooh, that's strong. Mama made that one good. Hmm. But guys, y'all get ready. We're less than 60 seconds away from starting the Shed Podcast, episode 20, Week in Wrestling, getting y'all prepared for WWE Royal Rumble PLE happening next Saturday, February 1st. It's going to be a great evening. We're going to start at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, between 2 and 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. On the pre-show, we're going to do the Week in Wrestling and our predictions for the Royal Rumble. So with that being said, we're about to get things started. And let's see, we're less than 30 seconds away. So hang in there. If y'all know any friends who like watching wrestling or who like to watch, check out podcasts on reviews of professional wrestling with the WWE, I'm your guy. We're the ones you need to see at the Shed Podcast. All right. All right. Got some good grooves right now. Excuse me. All right, and in five, four, three, two. Welcome, wrestling fans, to another episode of the Shed Podcast, episode 20, The Week in Wrestling. I am your host, just built different, Cody Hawkinz. I want to welcome everybody in, give y'all a little more time to pile up here. And better yet, I'm going to go ahead and share this real fast on Facebook. All right, there we go. I'm back. All right, awesome. All right, so guys, welcome to another episode of the Shed Podcast. I am just built different, Cody Hawkinz, on behalf of our producer, JT Gaming, Justin Toops, and our hype man, Cajun Daddy Trucker, Jimmy Fusho. Let's get this thing started. So we do have some news, a good bit of news outside of the WWE. Um, TNA Genesis happened last weekend, and it actually went down very, very good. It was a solid show through and through. Um, it was held January 19th from the Curtis Corwell Center in Garland, Texas. We got to see quite a few good matches here. This was the first pay-per-view for TNA since the official partnership began with WWE. How they've been like sharing talent between NXT and TNA, which has been a really great way to showcase other major companies in the wrestling business. TNA, it may be smaller scale than WWE, but their talent is outright awesome, amazing. Things have changed a lot since Scott D'Amore left TNA, because he was the one who put TNA back on the map. It wasn't no longer Impact Wrestling after a certain pay-per-view. It ended up becoming TNA Wrestling once again at the hands of Scott D'Amore. And Scott D'Amore, dude, I'm sorry. My opinion is Scott D'Amore is a hell of a promoter. He knows how to assemble cards. He knows how to work the mic. He knows what he's doing whenever it comes to the wrestling business. He wanted to, last I checked, I think he wanted to buy shares, like majority stock of TNA, to where he could own it, operate it, and have full control as to what TNA does with their television. Which at that point, Scott D'Amore was creating amazing television for TNA, formerly Impact Wrestling. So man, it breaks my heart still to this day that Scott D'Amore is no longer with TNA. Now, he has started Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling a while back, and they've been having a really good string of shows lately. I do need to touch up on it some more to where I can bring you more news concerning Maple Leaf Pro in Canada, run by Scott D'Amore. But anyway, we had a bunch of matches here for Genesis. We had Tessa Blanchard defeating Jordan Grace. We had Eric Young and Steve Macklin defeating Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers of the System. We had the X Division champion Moose defeat Ace Austin in a singles match here. Mike Santana would defeat Josh Alexander in an I Quit match, which in turn, after Alexander loses a match, he gets on the mic and makes an announcement that not only is he quitting, did he quit the match, he's quitting TNA. His contract is set to expire very soon. And as to where Alexander will go next is anybody's guess. You never know. WWE might even pull him in, or he might go take some time and go work in Japan. If anything, whether it's the WWE or New Japan or like matter of fact, there's a new Japanese promotion where multiple promoters gathered together to create this one big wrestling alliance in Japan. It does not include New Japan, by the way. So with that, let's see other matches we had here. We had Jody Threat and Danny Luna retaining their Knockouts Tag Team Championships against Ash and Heather by Elegance. This was about a 12-minute match through and through. Pretty solid tag work with slam of Jody Threat and Danny Luna. The Hardy Boys would also defend and retain the TNA World Tag Team Championships against the Rascals in an outstanding match. Dude, the plot twist. There's a move called the plot twist. Jeff Hardy will hit the twist of fate. The opponent would bounce out from the twist of fate and catch a neck breaker from Matt Hardy. That is a insane combo, and it's so simple and so effective. So effective. Let's see what else we had going on here. Masha Slamovich would defeat Rosemary to retain the TNA Knockouts Championship in a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match. which lasted about 17 minutes. We also get to see NXT's Cora Jade during this match ringside to confront Masha Slamovich for appearing earlier on a previous NXT earlier that week on NXT television. Then, last but not least, the TNA World Heavyweight Championship was on the line between champion Nick Nemeth, formerly Dolph Ziggler from WWE, and Joe Hendry. And this match did not disappoint. Joe Hendry would turn up and become the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion after dethroning Nick Nemeth in his 183-day title reign as TNA World Champion. Not to mention, this is Joe Hendry's first ever championship in TNA in his tenure with TNA. So congratulations to Joe Hendry, because here we believe. In this podcast, we believe. Also, TNA will be filming Impact at Full Sail University on Thursday, February 20th, and TV tapings on the 21st of February. Full Sail University used to be the home to NXT for years. The black and gold brand would run rampant through Full Sail University. After WWE would get their own performance center for NXT and the Capital Wrestling Center as well. That ended up being now the new home base for the NXT Black and Silver brand now. And now Impact is set to move to Full Sail University full-time for their TV tapings moving forward. Now, in other news, a Titan Tower, the former headquarters of the WWE in Stamford, Connecticut, from 1991 to 2023, has officially been sold, according to the Connecticut Insider. They said that this 4-story office building in Stamford, Connecticut, was sold for $3.75 million to MB Financial Group. It's a which is a real estate firm in the area. Now, according to the Connecticut Insider, MB Financial Group plans to turn it into an apartment complex. That's as far as I know as of right now. That's my only source at this moment. So that will conclude the news outside of the professional wrestling, outside of WWE. And now we move on to the big three: Monday Night Raw, NXT, and Friday Night SmackDown. And before I get started, I want to give a big shout out to Little East Creations, our primary sponsor for the Shed podcast, who have provided us with these wonderful cups that we do for the giveaways, as you've seen there. Just as recent as the Saturday Night Main Event Cup. We just did that one as well. Now, Little East Creations does more than just cups. They do shirts. They do embroidery. They do sublimation. You can do hats, t-shirts, baby clothes, birth announcements, wedding announcements, anything you can possibly think of that could be customized. Little East Creations has what you need. And whenever it comes to the product, it is an outstanding product. I did have a hat. I don't know where it went. I had the Shed. There it is. I knew it was up here somewhere. Whew. Off with that one. And here with the Shed Podcast Snapback Trucker Cap. That is also available in our marketplace. Just click the link in our bio to get to our merch. So Monday Night Raw. Let's just say Monday Night Raw has been really good since going to Netflix, but it's been good since before Netflix anyway. So what I'm going to go through here is everything that has gone down it was from the American Airlines Arena in Dallas, Texas. Michael Cole and Wade Barrett also being the new commentary for Monday Night Raw for Netflix. Now, starts off with a nice overhead shot of Dallas, Texas. And this is like, how many times was it? 27 times, I think, that Monday Night Raw has happened in Dallas, Texas. So Seth Rollins will be walking in, like pre-show arrivals. You'll see Rollins in a wild-ass outfit. Drew McIntyre, his opponent for the evening, is also shown arriving. CM Punk, who declared for the Royal Rumble last week, is also in the building. And then Penta El Zero Miedo will battle Pete Dunne later on in this evening. Now, the Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley is shown arriving at the American Airlines Arena. whenever Nia Jax would ambush her during that walk-in, Jax would slam her into a wall a few times and then avalanche her. Now, the Adam Pearce, Raw's general manager, did break up the fight with the aid of WWE officials. Now, this is going to lead to later on in the evening. Michael Cole and Wade Barrett are standing at ringside as usual. Cole says that Pat McAfee is off for the evening at another event. They would then discuss Nia Jax's attack on Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley. Now, the beginning of the night, main event Jey Uso would address the World Heavyweight Champion and Gunther. Now, main event Jey Uso would make his way to the ring through the crowd as usual. Michael Cole getting with the yeet dance, getting on with it, loving every second of it. I'm gonna just take these off because my light ring really glares, so might as well. Jey Uso is set to face Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, which was last night at Saturday night's main event. I did not get to catch this PLE. We will bring it up for the Weekend Wrestling podcast this coming up Saturday for the Royal Rumble pre-show. We will bring up Saturday night's main event in the recap before we do predictions for Royal Rumble. I promise. You have my word, because I did not get to watch it last night because yours truly was scheduled for a wrestling match for Sadistic Wrestling Federation in Silsbee, Texas against Dante Alfredo, and I did get the win. And to show everybody, just like him and everybody else in the SWF fan base, why Cody Hawkinz is just built different. So, Reno, what's up? Now, crowd's doing their thing, doing the yeet thing. Michael Cole's out in ringside from his desk, doing the dance, getting with it. Michael Cole, old as he can be, he's still being part of it. He's immersed himself into the culture of WWE's talents so much. And it only gets better with time with Michael Cole. This man has been doing this for over 20 years. He might have missed maybe a few days of work in his entire tenure with the WWE. And I got to give Michael Cole some of the best props in the world because he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. Now, Gunther's music would hit after Jey Uso's entrance, and of course, he'd make his way to the ring. He'll stand across the ring from Jey Uso, which was yesterday for the World Heavyweight Championship. Uso would say he's going to say he was going to beat Gunther, take the title, hang it up in his room, and then Gunther would reply, let's see, would basically call Jey Uso a funny little man. What's up, Justin? Funny little man, and says he's looking forward to facing Uso in the main Saturday night's main event after he would refocus himself. Now, at this point, until today, whenever he saw Uso walking in acting like a complete dork, Uso was acting like a company mascot for the crowd. And that's just my opinion. At this point, it really doesn't matter to Gunther. Gunther is not fazed by any of this. My boy Upgrade. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yep. That respawn chair courtesy of my producer, Justin Teese, my good bro. Thank you, Justin. You've helped make this podcast that much more comfortable. So, at this point, like I said, it really doesn't matter if Gunther wins or he really doesn't pay any attention to Jey Uso. Because he's saying it doesn't matter what Jey Uso says because he doesn't follow up on his word. The people are naive enough to believe every word that Jey Uso says, but Gunther's not swayed. And it's great to see this kind of heat and to see these kind of promos to show that Gunther is a very serious champion, is a very professional champion. And Jey Uso is just another mascot gimmick in the roster. But Jey Uso has had some stellar matches. Now, he's never, his last time he worked Gunther, he got mauled. Okay? The last time I saw a match between main event Jey Uso and Gunther. This is while Gunther was Intercontinental Champion, as a matter of fact. Right. Now, Uso will show up whenever someone whistles, like his brother, cousin, and Cody Rhodes, quote unquote. You know, all it means is that Jay is a quote unquote useful idiot. Let's see. And Uso's words and actions don't align. Gunther Gunther would say, as he's holding up the title on Saturday, I'm going to expose you for the flash in the pan who has no business being this close to the World Heavyweight Championship, unquote. Uso would be fired up and the crowd would start chanting yeet. Uso would say Gunther is right again. Everything that came out of Gunther's mouth was true. Uso is a mascot and the crowd is his team. They're his squad because they ride with him, slide with him. And on Saturday night, they'll be with him when he beats Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. This was a pretty solid promo. Tell your wife to bring you Saturday pizza and shots. Yeah, pizza and shots, baby. Oh, look, I'm bringing my proper number 12. We're gonna have some green apple whiskey shots for sure. Bet on it. Pizza and shots. Oh yeah, buddy. Next thing you know, that would get Gunther a little aggravated after Uso finally stepped up and said it with his chest. He would then Gunther would go up to the apron, hop up on the apron, get all mad with him, start talking that jab, and then back off. Waiting for Saturday night's main event, which happened last night. Like I said, I did not get to watch it, but I will bring that review and my opinions toward that pay-per-view this Saturday coming up, February 1st at the Shed for the Royal Rumble pre-show. Now, there was a backstage segment with the New Day with they come up to JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, yeah, WWE Hall of Famer, and say they found someone who understands. JBL is happy to see them. Kofi Kingston says JBL will be the commentator for the match against the fake locker room leader, Rey Mysterio. Xavier Woods wants JBL to put over how they've been wronged so much they put some money in his pocket. They mentioned that JBL dropped a tag partner and became bigger. So JBL says he doesn't blame them for dropping a charismatic, large muscle tag team partner. Surely people will care more about them now. They're not happy with his backhanded compliment, and then they walk off. JBL asks if he gets to keep the $10. Like, do I get to keep the money? Yeah, sure, whatever, bro. And then in the arena, Mysterio would make his entrance, and he would take on Kofi Kingston, followed by a commercial break. The backstage interview, Kathy Kelly would be backstage with Bayley, and she would say that Bayley is here for a match against Nia Jax tonight. Also, Bayley has an announcement. So Bayley says she's officially back on Raw. So that's official. Bayley has returned to Monday Night Raw. This is where she started up. Like, it feels good to be on Monday Night Raw. That's what she said, quote unquote. This is where she started her WWE career when she came up from the NXT call-ups. Bayley also wants to declare herself for the 2025 Women's Royal Rumble. She's the 2024 winner, which was great. So back-to-back sounds pretty good. She can go either after Tiffany Stratton or she can go after Rhea Ripley. It really doesn't matter. If she wins it, who she's going to face is anybody's guess. But something tells me that Bayley would probably want to try to aim for, since she's on Raw, Rhea Ripley. Why not? But if she still wants to carry on that storyline with Tiffany Stratton from the last couple of months, I say, shoot, no better way to do it. Because then that would create a really big payoff between Tiffany Stratton and Bayley. Nia Jax would end up walking up during this interview, but there are some audio issues. When it pipes up, she says she'll take out Tiffany Stratton and win the Royal Rumble. Bayley dares her to try something on her like she did to Rhea Ripley. And then there was a PBR Pro Bull Rider, Mason Taylor, at ringside, along with Austin Richardson and Matt West, a PBR announcer. Now, JBL is sitting commentary for this next match. Big E's voice is heard on the New Day's theme saying it's a new day. Yes, it is, but they're not happy. And they say they are not using that theme anymore. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston would greet the crowd. Kingston says the crowd is starting to piss him off. Crowd boos and chants, feeling that every time they try to speak, that crowd would overwhelm them with the charismatic jeers of the fan base that is the WWE universe in Dallas, Texas. They would start chanting New Day sucks. Once again, they're chanting New Day sucks. It's only a matter of time before that was going to start happening again. Because whenever they first broke in with the New Day, whenever the New Day first started in WWE, that's all they did. The crowd would be chanting "New Day sucks," until they grew to love them and like them and love them and follow them and everything else in between. Um, Now, Xavier Woods was pretty enthusiastic on the mic. Same goes for Kofi. Um, they say, quote, they've been doing this for too long to be disrespected like this. They are walking Hall of Famers, unlike this fraud JBL. Kingston would take his money out of JBL's pocket. Wood says Rey Mysterio would get the brakes beat off of him by the one and only Kofi Kingston. Uh, and then because New Day rocks and the crowd would chant New Day sucks once again. So the match between Mysterio and Kofi, the bell would ring. They circle the ring. Kingston hooks his waistlock and catches him with the side headlock before shoving Mysterio into the corner. So they did a lot of great work here. Kingston would pretty much dominate as a heel in this match, even stomping the midsection of Rey Mysterio and trading words with JBL from the ring to the commentary table. The crowds would chant later on, Kofi sucks. Kingston drives Mysterio sternum first into the ring apron and goes for another power bomb, but Mysterio would counter with a Hurricane Rana into the steel steps. Then they would go to commercial break. Coming back on the other side of that break, Kingston and Mysterio are trading punches back and forth. Kingston will kick Mysterio and send him into the ropes. Mysterio ducks two clotheslines and hits the running crossbody block. Mysterio would take the moment to recover. Kingston, Mysterio would go to the top rope. Kingston would cut him off. Kingston would duck a springboard crossbody block, goes for the sunset flip, but Mysterio rolls through and hits a basement drop kick for a 2 count. Now, Mysterio would end up winning connecting with a 619 followed by a splash to get the pinfall over Kofi Kingston. Xavier would run down after the match and attack Rey Mysterio from behind. Woods would get Mysterio in the ring. New Day would double team him. Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro of the LWO, which is Rey Mysterio's running mates, they'd come out to the ring and drive him into the ring post. Now Del Toro would chase off the New Day, and the crowd would boo the New Day as they're leaving the building. This was a good match with Kofi and Rey Mysterio. Since the New Day hasn't been in action since the turn, I figured Kingston would still win, but if Mysterio would have stole the win instead, it really would have gone either way, but it would have been nice to set up the LWO and the New Day for a future storyline, especially for the tag division, because the Monday Night Raw tag team division, they need it. They need good talent. They need the storylines. They need development for these championships. They're too busy putting storylines for all these other championships, but not the tag division. SmackDown's doing a better job with the tag division than Monday Night Raw is at this point, if you want my dead honest opinion. Now there was another last week on Raw. Penta El Cielo Metal would make his huge debut, defeating Chad Gable in his first match, cutting a promo with his family ringside. Kathy Kelly would interview Chad Gable this past Monday about his loss to Penta, but would see him shouting at American Made in the background. Gable says he was firing up the troops. Gable says he knows he has the talk of the wrestling world. He was the talk of the wrestling world when he lost to Penta El Cielo Metal. He knows that he has a problem losing to Penta, Dragon Lee, and Rey Mysterio. Gable has sought the advice of someone who knows Lucha Libre, Dominic Mysterio, Rey's son. So Dominic will help him with this problem, hopefully. Ivy now says there's a women's intercontinental championship with her name on it. Of course, she's going to go after Lyra Valkyria for the women's intercontinental championship later on. She's looking to push for that. So this is a good way to start a new championship storyline with the new acquired talent like Ivy now. She is small in stature, but she's an absolute athlete. She's extremely agile. She's fit as a fiddle. Ivy Nile, if paired with the right person, can create stellar 3-star or I don't even want. Why did I even say that? 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Fuck the Meltzer star system. Okay, I would give it some high regards. if Lara Valkyria was paired with the right person for the Intercontinental Women's Championship match, and Ivy now seems to be like one of those likely candidates. I love what I'm seeing here, and I look forward to more with Ivy as well as Lyra. Um, Now, the Creed brothers would also make their declarations of going for the WWE World Tag Team Championships. Julius Creed would say they're taking the titles from a team at the end of their career and bringing them to a team hitting their prime. Now, another backstage segment happened with Sami Zayn. Maxine Dupree is shown talking to Natalia in the background, and we'll hear from Sami Zayn after the commercial break. A drone shot. I love the drone shots they're doing right now in the cameras with the production value of WWE Raw. It's been doing great. Now, Zayn would come out to address the fans and the people at home. He would thank the crowd for the reception, but he's not going to beat around the bush here. Zayn would speak to Adam Pearce, and he has officially entered into the 2025 Rumble. Of course, Seth Rollins would tell him that he spends all his time helping other people, that maybe it's time for Zayn to help himself. That got him thinking about what he wants. Zayn started to think about 14-year-old him and the millions of people worldwide who dream of ever becoming a professional wrestler, um, as well as the thousands who actually get to be wrestlers. And then there's the small group that is called WWE Superstars. Then there is the smallest group of all, the top tier of the WWE. That's where Zayn is now. Zayn believes in his heart that he's as good as any in that group. And he has proved himself time and time again to be at the top of the card when given the opportunity. Sami Zayn has not failed to disappoint. Um, Zayn has a great life and a career so far. You know, the only difference between him and them guys like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre is that they've all held world championship gold. But Zayn would fire back and say that he doesn't need a title to complete him. The fans have supported him through the years. Their support's meant more to him than any world championship could ever mean. And Zayn doesn't need the world title, but damn it, he wants it. Now the 14-year-old Sammy in him wants it. He's still with Zayn and is with him every time he's in the ring. Zayn wants it. He is going to take it. Kevin Owens' music would hit. Afterwards, Owens would head to the ring in a Bret Hart jacket with the WWE Winged Eagle belt over his shoulder. Michael Cole would make sure to mention that Owens is not the undisputed WWE champion, which of course we all know is Cody Rhodes. Um, let's see. Owens would stare across the ring from Sami Zayn, and Zayn says he knew it was only a matter of time before Owens would show up. Then Owens would ask, what does that mean? Zayn says the world saw that what he did to Cody Rhodes when he teamed with Roman Reigns. How is this going to go down? Like Owens says he'll admit that he was a bit upset when he saw Sami Zayn teaming with Reigns at Survivor Series. Then Owens thought about it. It's not like when Rhodes teamed with Reigns. Zayn had a lot of history with Reigns, whether it was fighting against him or fighting for him in the OG bloodline, being the honorary Uce. Zayn had a lot of history, just like they do. Now, Reigns did some terrible things to Zayn that he chose to overlook, and Owens has done some terrible things to Zayn that he has overlooked. You know, Zayn would forgive him just like he forgave Reigns. That's who Zayn is. Zayn is a good guy. Sammy is an outstanding human being. And then Owens is here as his friend to say he believes wholeheartedly that Zayn will win the Royal Rumble. And Sami Zayn deserves to win that Royal Rumble, go to Mania, fight for the title. Zayn will do it. Then they can accomplish one more thing together. They've done so much in this business together. It is unreal. And this is bigger than anything that they've dreamed of in the last 25 years. They've been in the professional wrestling industry as independents. Kevin Owens, formerly Kevin Steen, had 17 years in the business before getting signed by WWE. 17 years. This man has busted his ass to get where he is at the pinnacle of professional wrestling today. And, you know, it says a lot about the character of somebody like Kevin Owens, the character of Sami Zayn, the character of many of these acquisitions over the last 10 to 15 years that have become major staples in WWE. And I look forward to a whole lot more of them Now, when Zayn wins the Rumble, they'll get to do that. And it'll happen as long as he walks out of Royal Rumble as the WWE champion. Owens knows both those things will happen. Owens knows Zayn will win the Rumble because he's got Zayn's back. And Owens will walk out of the Royal Rumble as WWE champion, defeating Cody Rhodes. That's basically what he's been saying. Um, Zayn, as his best friend and brother, if he needs Zayn, he knows he'll be there. Owens would end up walking off, and Zayn would be left looking conflicted as hell in this promo. Um, Now they have a contract signing later on this week for Friday Night SmackDown, leading up to the Rumble next this Saturday coming up. This was some good stuff between Owens and Zayn. It took an unexpected turn with Owens going on about the friendship and dropping little hints that he's expecting Zayn to help him with the title match at Royal Rumble. He's expecting Zayn to cost Cody Rhodes the undisputed WWE Championship. Let's see. Kathy Kelly would also be backstage with Sheamus not long after this. He would challenge Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship for Saturday night's main event, which happened last night. Like I said, I don't have the info on it. I did not get to watch it because I was wrestling as well in Stillsby, Texas for Sadistic Wrestling Federation. I had a great time. I'm still feeling it. My shoulder's a little out of whack, and I think I might have pulled a groin muscle on my left side, but I'm okay. It's just a muscle strain. Ain't nothing that a little work can't get through. Um, Now Sheamus would be like I said, he would be challenging Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Then Braun would walk up and hold the title up in front of Sheamus and say that this is about as close as he'll ever get to that championship. On Saturday, he's going to break him like an old man, and Breaker wants Sheamus to retire. Sheamus shoves him away, and Breaker laughs. Um, there was a VTR about Bob Uecker, who passed away just recently. Oh, okay. And then they did a replay of Nia Jax attacking Rhea Ripley. At ringside, Roxanne Perez of NXT is shown before the Nia Jax versus Bayley match. This was a classic. Every time you put Bayley and Nia Jax in the ring together, they've always found a way to produce a great quality product of a match. Um, there was a bit of a count out almost. Jax would be able to get back into the ring by the count of 8. Bayley would hit Bayley would hit with the Annihilator for the near fall, and then Bayley would quickly go back to the second rope and drop an elbow for another 2 count. Bayley sets up for the roast plant, but Jax would shove her off and hit the shoulder breaker for a 2 count. Bayley gets up in the corner and Jax avalanches her. Jax waits for Bayley to get up and charges, but Bayley sends her to the apron. Jax quickly punches her down and drives her shoulder first. Leading into there, Jax would take a nasty fall, landing on her tailbone first with this situation. And Bayley would go for the Bayley to belly, but Jax attacks the arm. Bayley would hit a chop block before hitting the ropes, but Jax hits a pop-up Samoan drop followed by a senton splash, and then quickly pull it to the corner with the Annihilator for the win. As soon as that match was over, Rhea Ripley's music would hit. She would come out to the stage holding her head in pain and then charge down to the ring and brawl with Jax. Ripley would drive her into the corner, hit some shoulder thrusts. Officials would come in to come and break it up. WWE officials run down and pull Ripley away. They also hold Jax back, and Jax would break free and avalanche Ripley into the corner. Jax would be pulled away, and then Ripley breaks through and attacks her. So pull away, peel off, back and forth, which is really good. It's building good story for the Women's World Championship, being that Rhea Ripley has been your new champion for the last few weeks. There was a Judgment Day segment, with Chad Gable going to talk to Dirty Dom Mysterio about getting the edge on taking on luchadors like Rey Mysterio. JD McDonough would mention the World Tag Team titles and say Balor's laid up. Mysterio says he can take Balor's place, but Balor wouldn't mind according to Mysterio. McDonough agrees, and Morgan says Mysterio is acting like a leader, and he hopes it turns out better than he did for her match with Rhea Ripley. Mysterio would say he thought she wasn't mad and will make it up to her. She says that she says he will and drags him away. Carlito's eyes get a little buggy. There was a video on the women's intercontinental champion Laura Valkyria as she will defend the title again. And after that, Penta would face Pete Dunne in a singles match. Notre Dame head football coach Marcus Freeman would talk about being a huge wrestling fan in a segment here. Pre-sale tickets for WrestleMania will go on sale this coming up. They started going on sale this past Wednesday, and they will be fully available as of this past Friday. Another segment with Sami Zayn walking up to Seth Rollins. Zayn thanking Rollins for last week's talk and says it got through to him. And Rollins says it's about time for Sami to show up. And Rollins is almost rooting for Sami Zayn to win the Rumble. But if push comes to shove, he'll throw him over the top rope at the Royal Rumble. And Zayn will say, not if I throw you out first, and walking off. The match between Pete Dunne and Penta El Cierro Metal. Well, they're just going to call him Penta here. This was an outstanding match with a commercial break, of course. A lot of hard hitting stuff, but Penta would hit the Penta driver on Pete Dunne for the win here. It was a decent match between Penta and Pete Dunne, and Penta's just trying to string together a couple of wins before he gets into a feud. This is an awesome way to do that. I wonder if the placement of Logan Paul, of that Logan Paul promo, was a hint. Think about it. And then there was the VTR with Logan Paul saying it must suck to be a hater. People have wanted them to fail for years, never will. You know, you're looking at the GOAT, blah, 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 all that goodness. You know, and then Logan Paul will be set to make his Raw debut tomorrow night, coming up for Monday Night Raw on Netflix. So do pay attention and tune in to Monday Night Raw on Netflix. CM Punk would address the Royal Rumble. Punk would chant pretty much pump the crowd up a good bit here, and ask Jackie Redmond if it's great to be alive on a Monday night in Dallas, Texas. Redmond says there's only so many ways to get to the main event of WrestleMania, and the Rumble is one of those ways for sure. That's a match he's never won. And the field is stacking up with Roman Reigns, John Cena, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn. What makes this Royal Rumble different for CM Punk? Well, Punk would say history, and quote, history, and I am the maker of history, unquote. 3 weeks ago, he main evented the first Monday Night Raw on Netflix, beating one of the Royal Rumble favorites, Seth freaking Rollins. Punk will head into the Royal Rumble and throw 29 other superstars over the top, talking all the pressure here. This is a strong promo from CM Punk. He took some strong shots, even getting Hulk Hogan in the mix by saying he'd kill Hulkamania for good if he ever got in the Royal Rumble. And it couldn't happen to a nicer narcissistic liar. Now, there was a couple of other segments. There was an announcement for the Elimination Chamber heading to the Rogers Center in Toronto, Ontario, Canada on March 1st, 2025. So look forward to seeing us on the Shed podcast for March 1st for the Elimination Chamber as well at the Shed. Me, Justin, and Jimmy. Last month on Raw, the Pure Fusion Collective attacked Kairi Sane and damaged her hand. Now, there was a tag team match leading up to this. The Pure Fusion Collective, in the form of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, with Sonya Deville managing, versus Damage Control, Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So Kai and Sky back at it in tag team action with referee Daphne LaShawn. There was some pretty good spots here. A lot of big moves. But Sky would hit the over the moonsault for the win, giving a win for Damage Control over the Pure Fusion Collective. This was a decent tag match with Damage Control going over the Pure Fusion Collective. Stark continues to stand out with some great, really, really great offense, including that awesome springboard missile drop kick. That was a very clean drop kick. Now, another video would pop up after that. The commentators would run down the card for main event. Rollins would make his entrance not long after that, facing Drew McIntyre next in the main event for Monday Night Raw. This was a very big knockdown, drag-out match between two of the biggest men on the Monday Night Raw roster, whenever it comes to star power and whenever it comes to aggressive wrestling. And I love that about these two. Uh, but McIntyre's got himself into some pain, clutching the shoulder near the end. McIntyre would hit him with the forearm to the face with his good arm. Then McIntyre would go into the rope, but Rollins would scale the ropes and hit the superplex. Rollins rolls through, flows into the Falcon's arrow. Big signature spot here. Now both men, they hit they're basically down both again. But it would end with McIntyre getting up and saying Rollins runs his mouth, but the words and actions don't line up. McIntyre crushes him with a short arm clothesline, then pull him up to hit another short arm clothesline, and then ask Rollins what he thought was going to happen when he challenged him to a fight. McIntyre would stand over Rollins and grab him. McIntyre goes for the short arm clothesline, but Rollins twists through and catches him with a jackknife pin for the win. Now, after this match, McIntyre would Pearl Harbor Seth Rollins absolutely throughout this thing, and go into like basically close off Monday Night Raw with that assault. Um, so my overall thoughts on Monday Night Raw were very consistent. They've been doing very good with the storylines, the championships. They're trying to get everybody on television that have titles and to where they can start developing storylines for title pushes. Now, moving to NXT, you know, this week's show was unofficially Title Tuesday as three different championships were on the line. Now, here's the titles. Eddie Thorpe would take on Obafemi for the NXT Championship. Rich Holland would take on Tony D'Angelo for the North American Championship. And then Charlie Dempsey would defend against Lexus King for the Heritage Cup. Now, the first match of the night was the North American title. Tony D would defend his championship against the former Brawling Brute, Ridge Holland. They started into a lockup that quickly turned into a striking contest. Holland would score the first takedown with a shoulder tackle, but the champ was up and immediately and fired back. Sean Spears would show up, and Tony D would seem to let him get in his head for a little bit, let him kind of live in his head rip free for a moment, which helped Holland get the advantage during the break. Coming back out of the commercial break, this was a physical and very fun match that showed the fundamentals of both men have learned being in NXT. However, while it was fun, this ended in mayhem. Izzy Dame would interfere on Tony D's behalf while a brawl was breaking out at ringside and kicked Holland in the face, allowing the champ to pin him to retain the championship. So Tony D would defeat Rich Holland to retain the North American title. Next up would be Dion Lennox versus Wes Lee. After a break in a quick backstage segment, Bayley would come to the ring. She talked a lot about her history with NXT and how she cares about Roxanne Perez. But it wasn't Perez who interrupted her. It was Julia, of all people. She said that she respected Bayley, but it didn't take long for Perez to show up with her BFF Cora Jade. Of course, this was going to happen. It turned into a fight with Bayley and Julia, sending him out of the ring. They continued fighting during the break as officials tried to break him up. And then there was another fight breaking out in the women's locker room. You know, Lee was giving up some size, but it didn't stop him from taking control. Oh, wait, hold on. When we returned, the ring had been cleared, and rookie Dion Lennox was making his way to the ring to take on Wes Lee. Lee was giving up some size, but it really didn't stop him from taking control when needed and hitting the suicide dive straight out the gate. When he got back to the ring, Lennox propelled him high into the air and let him fall flat on his face. Big old face bump. That was scary looking. I'm live right now. Go. Now, Lee did a great job selling for Lennox here. And then make him look like an absolute monster in that ring before he did the quick comeback and hit his finisher for the win. Now, this wasn't a long match, but it was fun for what it was. With 5 more minutes, it could have been a freaking barn burner, if you want my opinion there. But Wes Lee would defeat Dion Lennox by way of trickery. Now, Lexus King versus Charlie Dempsey. Bro, if you're starting to look at Charlie Dempsey, he's starting to look like John Holmes, dude, and it's not cool. He looks like John Holmes, I swear. And if you don't know who John Holmes is, kids, don't ask. Parents, you probably already know who I'm talking about here. Okay. Okay, moving forward. Now, the Heritage Cup was on the line. with the former champion Dempsey taking on Lexis King, who is the current Heritage Cup champion. Started off with a good exchange of takedowns and reversals, of course, with that style of wrestling. But neither guy could gain a footing until King started to build a little bit momentum. Now they traded several near falls. Sorry, they traded several falls in the first round. Nobody gained a point. Most of the second round took place during the break and saw Dempsey score a point before the show returned. This became a lot. He became a lot more confident during this match, and once he had a point and began trying to punish King with submissions, King would score a point to wrap up the third round. He considered using some brass knucks, but seemed to change his mind. Believe it or not, here in the end, King will retain the cup the same way he won it with a low blow that led to a pin. Most of this was pretty satisfying to watch. The finish left a little bit to be desired, but King was never a convincing baby face to begin with, so we can only hope that he stops trying to act like one very soon. Let's see, what is next? Carmen Petrovic versus Jada Parker. There was a fight that broke out backstage in the women's locker room. Jada Parker and Carmen Petrovic were booked in the singles match. Ashante the Adonis would accompany Carmen to the ring. Both of these women pride themselves in their fighting ability, so it was no time wasted sizing each other up. Both competitors were throwing strikes and going for takedowns immediately. This match was very good physically, and a couple of fun moments in between. But Petrovic would score the win after Kalani Jordan showed up and distracted Parker just long enough for Petrovic to roll her up for a pin. The devastating schoolgirl pin for the win. Let's see. And then Nico Vance and Brooks Jensen would be against Stax and Luca Crucifino from the family. Now, after what went down in the North American title match earlier, Stax and Luca were booked in a tag match against Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance. This was a high energy from the moment the bell rang. So they did an awesome job making this look like all men, all four of these guys couldn't wait to start inflicting some serious damage. Both teams had some good spots, but the most brutal had to be whenever Jensen Crucifino when Jensen sent Crucifino into the steps right before Vance hit the huge lariats on Stax for the win. Solid, decent tag team match here. So let's moving on to the main event. This week's main event was the NXT title match between Femi and Thorpe. This was booked after Thorpe attacked Femi last week during his title celebration. Now, Eddie Thorpe would show no remorse and no fear of the champion as he took the fight with him with quite a few sequences, followed by a huge pin attempt. Then Femi would immediately kick out and begin to show his dominance. This was an awesome match all around from Eddie Thorpe. This was a great display. This was a fun match as well. Again, it made Thorpe look a lot more dangerous than he's been giving himself off to appear. But Obafemi would defeat Thorpe to retain the NXT championship. Now, moving forward, let's go on to Friday Night SmackDown. Now, I did listen to SmackDown, but I didn't get to watch SmackDown because I was busy with some things happening at home. And, things got a little bit lead pipe cinch. So, there was a 3-hour episode, of course, now with SmackDown being on USA. There was, before the show started, they were hyping the matches between Tama Tonga and LA Knight, and then the Motor City Machine Guns and Pretty Deadly would be the two highlight matches of the night. And they would start off the night with the Motor City Machine Guns and Pretty Deadly scheduled for a tag team match. But beforehand, Cody Rhodes would come to the ring for an interview with Joe Tessitore and would talk about his match against Kevin Owens at this week's Saturday night's main event, which happened last night. The segment ended without interruption or attack, so we moved right into the tag match with the Guns and Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly is not known as a very big powerhouse team, but they're deceptively big and very technical, being sized up, being size difference between them and the Guns. The Guns They're small guys, but they're chiseled. These guys are very skilled, 20 plus years in the business, multiple time TNA World Tag Team Champions, multiple time IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions. Like, these guys would use their speed and agility, while Wilson and Prince would use their size advantage during this tag match. Um, Pretty Deadly did get a lot of offensive stuff in for this match. Um, Even got a double team bulldog maneuver that looked great, but Motor City Machine Guns would make a comeback and score the win with the skull and crossbones double team. Another fun and well paced match here. Pretty Deadly looked better than they have in a long time. This was an awesome pairing between Pretty Deadly and the Motor City Machine Guns. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley have proven time and time and time again that they are one of the best tag teams in the business today. Within a month, in less than a month of them being in WWE, they got the WWE Tag Team Championships away from Tamatonga and Tongaloa. Or was it I don't know which one it was. It was a Tongan and Jacob Fatu, I think. Or something like that. I don't remember. Oh, that's good. Woo! Well, I was strong at the bottom of the cup. Ah, now, B-Fab and Michin would square off in a tag team match against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. But before that, Owens would come to the ring and cut a promo about everybody sucking up to Cody Rhodes. Um, Jimmy Uso would come out and end up attacking him to shut him up. It's like, you talk too damn much. Whack! You know, After the break, Carmelo Hayes was shown complaining to Nick Aldis about his match being canceled. So, Aldis would offer him a new opponent who was just drafted to SmackDown. Hayes said he would wait to see who it was before accepting. Um, then the tag match with B-Fab and Michin taking on Chelsea and Piper. Uh, Green was basically the main target for Michin here after losing the United States Championship match against Chelsea Green at the last Saturday night's main event in December. This ended up being a very short match. And to me, I feel like Piper Niven and B-Fab were kind of left out. They were focusing more of the attention between Michin and Chelsea Green, which understandably, because of the Women's United States Championship story that they've been doing. Now, B-Fab and Michin would defeat Green and Niven in this match to carry on the show. Then Jax, LeRae, and Morgan would take on Rhea Ripley, Naomi, and Bianca Belair. Tiffany Stratton would come out first, cutting a promo that was quickly interrupted by Rhea, then joined by Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, who were followed by Naomi and Bianca Belair, which pretty much developed it into a 6-woman tag. Getting back from break, Jax, LeRae, and Morgan were taking on Belair, Naomi, and Ripley in a 6-woman match. It was the usual WWE style setup for a multi-person match. Everyone had a little time on defense, and everyone spent a little time selling for someone else. The bout lasted. The match lasted through a break and into the next segment. So the women on here were on screen for a good minute between the match and the talking segment. If you put all their time from the promo and the match together, they were on television for quite a bit. While most of what we saw looked good on a technical level, there was no sense of urgency, I feel, in this match. They were going through the motions at times instead of the chaotic feel we expect from a match like this, with many people in and out of the ring. So it didn't really pick up into the last few minutes. But whenever Rhea got the hot tag and started taking out everybody, Morgan would end up stealing the win by pinning Belair. This wasn't, I mean, it was an all right tag match, a 6-woman tag match. They usually got the formula down here pretty good. So now we have another singles match here. Apollo Crews would take on Johnny Gargano, one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions of DIY. Crews would insult DIY backstage in a previous segment. But on top of that, Crews hasn't been on TV that much. He was, the last time he was on TV was whenever Baron Corbin was still with the company. So post the disbandment. So it was nice to see him get some ring time as a singles competitor, Apollo Crews. Even though Ciampa did interfere in this match, Crews was able to get the pin with a roll up, what is easily the most surprising result of the night. Easily. This was a fun little jog of a match. But if they had more time, they'd have taken the show. Crews would win over on Gargano. And then at the end of this evening here, nearing the end of it, we're going towards Tama Tonga versus LA Knight. Fatu was at Tama's side here on this match. The fight would spill out of the ring almost immediately after both men would use the barricade to inflict some punishment. Hard fought match, sold the aggression. But Fatu stayed an intimidating factor. But LA Knight would be unimpressed at this point instead of his usual shade of anger. He almost cost Knight the match, though, Jacob Fatu. At the end of it all, LA Knight would defeat Tama Tonga with the BFT to get the pin. Then also you have the newly acquired opponent that just moved to SmackDown in the form of Damian Priest. So Damian Priest would face Carmelo Hayes afterwards, and the Archer of Infamy would have the upper hand almost immediately early in this match. But Hayes would take control at ringside as the show would go to break. They paced it a little bit slower than expected, but they did it in a way that made sense. If that sounds right, y'all let me know in the comments. Because to me, it was a little slow paced, but the match made sense. Less is more sometimes whenever it comes to a David versus Goliath comparison. You see freaking Damian Priest at over 6.5, almost over 6 foot tall. You got Carmelo Hayes, who is under 6 foot tall. It's like, God, what was it? Big, the movie Big with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That size comparison is what really got there. Now, Hayes would come close a few times whenever it comes to gaining a victory. But Priest wasn't about to lose his SmackDown debut. Picked up the win with the South of Heaven chokeslam, giving the win to Damian Priest. Kevin Owens would then face Jimmy Uso in the main event. And this was a fight from the get-go. Hayes was basically insulted by Uso during a moment backstage and attacked him during his entrance. Officials would break it up, so Jimmy continued his way to the ring. The prize fighter had the upper hand for a few minutes and talked a lot of trash to both his opponent and the crowd. These guys know each other quite well over the last 5+ years, 10 years. They've been a part of the WWE. They had a nice back and forth encounter with a few standout moments here, especially in the second half. Owens would hit that pop-up powerbomb for the win. Rhodes would show up shortly after to initiate a brawl. Owens would defeat Jimmy Uso here. Let's see. Now, this to me was a pretty solid SmackDown, especially leading up to Saturday night's main event. Looking forward to rewatching Saturday night's main event as soon as I get off of here, so where I can put those notes down and get them ready for the Weekend Wrestling / Royal Rumble pre-show. So that pretty much concludes our podcast. I've had an amazing time here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show, and I want y'all to just give us a heads up and give us a shout out, like, share, subscribe, and tune in this Saturday, February 1st at the Shed with myself, JT Gaming, Justin Toops, and our buddy, our hype man, Cajun Daddy Trucker, Jimmy Fusho, for Royal Rumble pre-show and post-show with a chance to win another cup. So with that being said, I am Just Built Different, Cody Hawkinz, and thank you for tuning in to the Weekend Wrestling on the Shed podcast. We'll see you February 1st.